Welcome back to Ben Cost Match Fishing. Just pulling up in the car park at the very lovely Southend Farm in Essex, and hopefully, well, I know there's quite a few legends fishing here today, so I'm going to be doing a little couple of videos, and yeah, let's see how it goes. See you there.
All right, mate.
Good morning, John.
All right, Ben. Been fishing a pole, Ben, to start with, catching some nice skimmers. I kept seeing carp rolling out there, so I've put my normal me, I can't help myself with a Waggler. I've put my Waggler rod up with expander pellet on the bottom, and also I've had a carp, an F1, a few nice bream, and I missed a few bites, so it was worthwhile putting it up. But normally you catch loads of fish here on the pole. Dick's Mill expander, yeah, but I'll be honest, they've seen better days. They're last week's bait. I come to fish the pole, and so I started on the pole, catching quite a few fish. I kept seeing fish roll out there, and because I'm pleasure fishing, it just got the better of me. I just couldn't ignore them. And I've set up a Waggler, cut the shots down the line.
What size Waggler is that?
It's a 6 gram. I don't know if you can see it. It's a 6 gram bodied Waggler. I've got loads and loads of them, all with different colour tips, and it just change them over if the light changes. I like them.
Where you shot down the line?
2 number 10s.
Right, that's all.
And yeah, you don't need a lot of shot. You just want to take the bait down, and I mean the pellet's heavy enough. It anchors itself on the bottom. You just wait, and the float just disappears. That's how I fish up the top lakes. Unless it's towing, then I'll put a load of shot down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gone out on it, and I had a carp straight away. I've had a decent F1 and a few nice bream. The only problem trying to find a decent pellet to put on the hook, because these are last week's pellets. So say I didn't come here to do this. Once I find a decent pellet and it stays on, I'll get half a chance. I should really get up in my van and go and pump some more up, but I don't want to walk all the way over to my van. Here you go, there's one. Let's have a look. Might be able to get a fish here. Going out quite a long way out to the middle of the lake. That's where the carp seem to be at the moment.
Yeah.
And as I say, I just got to sit and wait for a bite, Ben. But it's just something different, doing something different. You know me, I like fishing a Waggler. Yeah. And I'd rather do this all day long, I would. But I come to fish the pole. I'll go back on the pole in a minute and have another go. But I enjoy doing this. If it was a match, then I'll stay on the pole, because it's what produces most fish. But this is just for enjoyment. And so I love it. I love doing it. If it goes, you don't know if you're going to get a bream, you don't know if you're going to get a carp, some big F1s in here, some quality, great big roach love a pellet in here. You just don't know what you're going to get next. And as I say, it's nice fishing. Nice fishing. Dickie just come over, give me a bit of stick.
Did he?
Dickie Carr, yeah, he said, oh, I have too much gear set up.
Too much what?
Too much gear set up.
Oh, really?
That's what he said, yeah. Missed that one. A little bit of corn might have been better on this.
You've had a few fish, John, haven't you?
Yes, Ben, I've had quite a few skimmers. A carp, an F1, a few nice hybrids, some nice roach. But I'm having trouble keeping me crappy old pellets on the hook. Really, as I say, I keep saying it. I should get up and go over to my van, but it's right over there. I can't be bothered. I'm gonna come back in on the pole in a minute and see if I can catch everything on the pole. Give this another couple of minutes. But so if you get a fish in here, they're normally nice fish. The carp are lovely in here.
Right, so you're going to have a little go on the pole, John, are you?
Yeah, Ben. I've been leaving it alone for a little while. Hopefully there'll be a few fish out there again. I've got a 0.16, which is half a gram. I've got a bulk of shots and 3 droppers, 3 number 10 droppers down the line. I'm a couple of inches over depth. Sometimes, if it's really pulling hard, I bring the shots down and have a double bulk. But today, I've been catching some decent roach spread shot, and I don't mind catching them. And you still catch the bream as well. When you double bulk, sometimes it knocks it on the head with a roach. I'm just happy to catch anything, Ben. That's what you go fishing for, mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
fishing 13 metres
Yeah.
out into the lake.
Yeah.
I've got a single maggot on a 20 and a 0.10 hook length. I mean, the roach and the skimmers, they're not really line shy, but they are hook shy. And I find a 20 hook or an 18 hook with double maggot is about right. And it still gives you half a chance. If you hook a carp, you've got half a chance of getting it in with 010. Just keep an eye on what's going on, and he's really struggling. He's not catching a lot of fish today, and I don't know why. It must be something to do with air pressure, because it's a beautiful day today. It's not a bit cold. I mean, the last few weeks we've been out, I can't even feel my hands, and today it's lovely, it's mild. Thought it would have fished its head off, but it's not. Right, I've hooked one. Oh my god, it's only a baby though. Little tiny roach, I'd say. But it's a bite and it's better than nothing. Yeah, little roach, look. Better than nothing though, isn't it? Got a lot of mates who are up in heaven that would like to catch that fish today. That's the way it keeps you, that's what keeps me on the straight and narrow, Ben, thinking of things like that. You think you're having a hard day's fishing, but we all got mates that have passed away who would love to be here catching odd little roach like I've just caught there. You know, it puts things into perspective. No, we're lucky we're still here, mate. You know, if you catch fish, it's a bonus, ain't it? It's a bonus, this is the way I look at things. I mean, obviously, when I'm in a match, I want to win every match I go in. I wish I did and all, but I'd never do. Fishing a Wagler, Ben. With maggots, I've changed over hook lengths and everything. I'll pellet, but the pellets of last week's and they're all turning into mush now. So I've turned it into a maggot swim, and I've started catching a few roach. I've had a couple of little skimmers on it. I was hoping to hook another carp. I've had a carp on the pellet, and I've had an F1 on the pellet, and it's more chance of getting the bigger fish on the pellet. But They do come to the maggot, and as such, so far I've not had none. So I'm hoping to get one, but I'm happy to catch anything, Ben. I'm happy to catch anything, a day's pleasure fishing. Simon, look over there, my mate Simon's got a big one on, by the looks of it, on the pole, and I might go back on the pole in a minute. Been watching Simon, and when he starts catching, it might be the time when they start coming back on the feed. He's not caught a fish for a long while. Looks like he's got a decent one on over there. So I might go back on the pole myself. So I've just looked around the lake, and a few fish have started to show again on the pole line. It's been very quiet for a lot of people for a while. So I'm just going to have another look. Hopefully you might catch a few skimmers on it.
What's the idea with the bug bar, John?
It's really, Ben, to hold it dead still because there's a real heavy tow on the lake. The wind's pushing and it's pushing the tow that way to my left, and it's pulling the float along, and you ain't no clever bream is ever going to touch a fish, a bait that's moving through like that. So I'm holding it on the bump bar to hold it dead still. I don't often use a bump bar, but for this type of fishing I've started using it, and me results have been a lot better, especially for these skimmers, holding it dead still. A couple of mates who swear by a bump bar is Gary Miller and Tony Cassidy, and they do really well on skimmers. Well, finally had a bite, Ben. I think it's a small skimmer on a single maggot. Yeah, it's a small skimmer. These are normally the bread and butter fish here. They go up to about £3, but the majority of the fish are sort of £0.5 up to £1.50. I mean, this one's about £0.5. But it's, as I say, it's nice to get any fish at all. I'm really happy. Look, it's quite, you know, they're decent little hand-sized skimmers. But it's nice fishing when it happens. I mean, I've had a number of them today, but as I say, you can't put them in a net. They don't allow you to use nets here. Otherwise, you'd see a nice catch shot. But there you go. That's how it is. I think we're just lucky to be able to come out. You know, in the first lockdown, everyone was cracking up, and all of a sudden, the angling trust got us allowed to come out, and we're all happy. And we've still had people moaning. Still had people moaning about the angling trust done this and done that, but they got us back out. And you know, when I think about it, even, I mean, I want to go on a match, but I started fishing, not match fishing, I started fishing for pleasure when I was a kid. Yeah. So what's the difference really? I mean, I do want to fish matches, but I'm happy to be out fishing. I'd rather be doing this than sitting indoors doing nothing. There's another bite there, I missed it. I'd rather be doing this than sitting indoors doing nothing. Yeah, of course, that's what it's about, isn't it? And the more you go out, Ben, the better you get, the more you learn. So you've got to go out as much as possible. I keep saying it to the young boy, young Louis. I take him out quite a lot. And he's so keen now. He wants to go out every day. Unfortunately, he's got to do his schoolwork. But little roach. Mind you, say little roach, you caught these on the canal, you'd be really pleased. I mean, they're 2 and 3 ounce fish. You'd be really pleased on the canal with that. Well, I would. I went yesterday on the canal, chubbing, and as usual, I only take a Waggler rod, fishing for chub. I only got there to fish for chub. I had 1 and lost 2. But I went with Simon Willsmore. Simon fished it sensible. Like I've been saying before, if people go there and fish it sensible, they'll have a day's fishing. He had a good £7 of roach yesterday, and some of them were quality. Some were real good quality fish. We're going back there tomorrow. Another little skimmer. The way that went off, I thought that was a much better fish. Just shows you, a little tiny thing like that pulled like anything. Only got a number 4 elastic on, it pulls it right out. There you are, look. Another skimmer here, Benny boy. We've come to that ground bait now.
Get a few fish on a pole now, John, haven't you?
Yeah, they've come to that ground bait, Ben. I've put a bit more crumb in, and they seem to come to it. And they're getting slightly bigger now as well. I mean, that's, what's that? It's got to be about 10-12 ounce. The last one I had was about a pound. So yeah, getting a few fish now. I don't like to drop them in, them bigger ones. I like to place them back in. They're delicate, aren't they? But I'll tell you what, every time I catch a fish, I'm getting, my line gets smothered in slime. They're really slimy fish here. But you've got to pick it off because it's not good. I don't think it's good to have all that slime on your line. What's doing the damage, Ben, is a single maggot.
Single maggot, yeah.
Single maggot on a 20 hook. Still on 010, in case I hook a carp.
Bulk and 2 droppers.
This has got 3 droppers on this one. The other one had 2 droppers. This one's got 3 droppers. Small droppers, but I mean it was designed to catch the roach going through the last couple of foot. But I've just brought them down a bit closer to the hook now. Now I'm catching skimmers and I'm getting a few lift bites on it. I lift it in, drop it in, it settles and the float either flies under or it just comes out about an inch. Where I brought them shots further down near the hook length, as soon as a fish picks it up, it lifts the float out. I know the other chaps, they all fish double bulks all the time, that's how they fish, but you miss out on lots of other fish. I say I like to fish with a spread bulk or a bulk of shots and a couple of droppers. Sometimes I fish with a double bulk, but I feel like you miss out on a lot of fish with just a double bulk. It takes it straight through the smaller fish, and I just like to keep catching. I don't care what fish they are. But there's a few bites to be had now. They're definitely coming to the crumb. Yeah. I've got a number of different buckets. I've got Colmic, got Census, got Matrix, whatever one I grab.
What's your mix today, John?
It's Pellet Guys Retro and Crust Expander.
What's retro?
Retro's a very fine mix of pellets and crumbs that Paul Law makes from Pellet Guys. It's quite a fine mix for winter, and I add to it a couple of big handfuls of Dark Expander, and it's very strong fish meal, which is what the fish like here. They seem to like it, and it's a very dark mix as well, almost black, Ben. Yeah. Almost black. Yeah, every now and again, Ben, they seem to come to the crumb, but just a few dead maggot in it. And normally you can go out within minutes, start catching again. It's as if they wander away. You put a ball in, they all come back, go bum bum bum, eat it all, then wander away, and you've got to put another ball in. And a lot of the fish here live off bottom, so it's a way of taking them back down. You can't catch them off bottom in the winter for some reason. I've tried fishing 6 inches, 8 inches off bottom, 10 inches off bottom, foot off bottom. They just don't catch them. But they are off bottom, and you put some crumb in, it takes them back down. They have a spell of feeding. They either wander away or they come back up, and you have to put another ball in, and it takes them back down again. Much the same way as a lot of the boys fish the pellet here. They're constantly putting in micros to take the fish down. We'll see if it works this time. See if I get another bite. But yeah, it's the wind's dropped again now, and the sun's come out. It's you know, it's been a funny old day today. Got indication straight away on the float. Normally takes a couple of minutes after you put. Yeah, so I've just put another ball of crumb in, and it could take. They could have it straight away. It could take a couple of minutes to settle, but then you start catching again. And I've got a slight indications on my float. Here, I'll just lift it. Here, I've got one, and that's literally 2 minutes after putting that ball in. It'd probably be a small skimmer because that's what you normally catch straight away. We'll see what it is. It's probably a roach, but it doesn't matter. It's fish. Yeah, oh, it is a skimmer, a little baby skimmer. They're normally what go straight on the crumb. They come straight on it, and then all of a sudden you start catching the slightly better ones. But I mean, there's loads of these in there, loads of these little hand size, which is all good for the future. All good for the future. They're what's going to make the big bream in a couple of years. On the lake above, there's the big main lake. The bream used to be like that when I first came here over 20 years ago, and now you get 5 and 6 pounders in there, and you regularly get them 3 and 4 pound, and that started from them little fish. So it's nice to see them. People get the hump when they catch them, but it's nice to see them. I like seeing them because I know in a couple of years' time there'll be some proper fish in here again. Just ship out again, lay it in. The toes sort of stopped now, so I'm not having to put it on the bump bar. Get it to go in and settle. Normally get a bite straight away. Let's just see. Hardly settled that, it just held up. Oh, it's come off, probably foul hooked. Just check that bait. There's so many fish down there now. I'm going in and it's going over their backs. Just put another ball of crumb in, and as I say, it brings all the fish in. But the last couple of fish I've hooked have been foul hooked. They just go mad. They just go straight on the ground bait, and they're just all over the place. And you get silly indications. The float goes under. You got to strike, but they're foul hooked. It just takes a little bit of while for them to settle down. Once they settle down, you just don't foul hook any, and you're catching some nice fish. There's a little indication there now. They seem to be settling now because the float ain't going all over the place. Where before it's all bouncing about, it's not doing that now. Hopefully they've got their heads down on the bottom. But that's the only problem here. You've got to keep feeding to take them down. And the more you feed, the more your swim goes crazy. But it's catch-22. If you don't feed, you don't get no indications. Oh, wind's getting up. Well, just a little while after feeding, I've hooked another one. I think it's one of them slightly bigger ones. It's not. Oh, it's bloody come off. Cut! Well, I'm getting a few fish again. And it seems to be, I'll ship out. I've pulled it, yeah, Ben, I think they're foul hooked. They're going a bit silly. What's this? There's plenty in there, mate, yeah, there's plenty there, but they just seem to go scatty for a little while after you feed. But it's just part and parcel of fishing here. It's just the way it is. I mean, sometimes, like even now, it looks like the float's not settling there. It looks like it's not settling. They sit there and it's like over a fish's back. And it won't settle. There's that many fish there. But it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Come on, you son of a sausage. settled on it now, Ben. There's a few fish settled on it now and getting a few more bites now. But so you have to keep putting the crumb in to get them there. And then you run the risk of foul hooking a few, but it's the only way you get a bite. Where's me disgorger? Do you know what? I've still got my tea there, I haven't drunk it. I'll have to drink that in a minute before you do it. You keep nicking all my flasks, don't you? Yeah, look. Yeah, gone back on it for a little while, Ben. Yeah, yeah. Well, it feels a good fish, I don't know what it is. I just hooked a carp a little while ago and I lost it. Oh, it's a small carp, Ben. Small mirror. So they're starting to get their heads down a bit now. You catch them all day long, wouldn't you? Yeah, it is, yeah. Nice seeing the float go under. Just fishing a double maggot on an 18 hook. Loose feeding a few maggots over it. The wind's got a bit heavy for the pole now, that's why I've gone on the Wagler, Ben. Anyway, I think, Ben, isn't it? I know it's a baby. Yeah, from one thing to the other. One carp, then a little roach. Yes, right, better than an empty hook. A few bites out there now, Ben, though, isn't there? Yeah, I've been building both up, Ben. I've just refed the pole line, but as I say, every time I feed it, I get a really silly bites and you foul hook fish and it just ruins the swim. So what I've tried to do now is I've fed it, let it settle for a little while. Meanwhile, I go back out on the Waggler, what I've been feeding with loose feeding with maggots regular now. And as I say, I've hooked one carp and lost it at the net. I've had that small carp, I've had a few skimmers on it. And at the moment, while I'm getting bites, I should stay on it. Because them fish on the pole line ain't going to go nowhere. They'll still be there. And hopefully by the time I go on it, they're settled and they're not going scatty like they do when you first put the crumb in. Yeah, it's perfect out there now. I mean, the wind drops and it's lovely. Then all of a sudden the wind gets up and you can't even hold the pole. The pole's buffeting in your hands. It doesn't look windy, but it is. I mean, they reckon gale force winds today. I mean, we've been lucky here because normally this does catch the wind, but we've not had it that bad. And luckily it's off of my right shoulder, which makes it a little bit easier. Sometimes you just can't hold the pole at all. But say, come here in the summer, I don't even bring a pole unless it's the matches for bream only, silvers only. I don't even bring a pole. I just bring 3 Waggler rods, and I'll just fish to win the match on carp, on pellet Waggler. And so I've had some real good bags on the pellet Waggler over here. And I've got the record over here with £389 a carp. Yeah, and that day I had about 5 or 6 fish over £20. You got to weigh your fish in over £8, so you know exactly what they've weighed it as you put them on the board. And luckily for me that day, I've got to say luckily, because it saved me a bit of time. Sid Wilson was sitting behind me, and he weighed the fish every time for me, and I could carry on fishing. It's a bit unfair really, but I don't think I'd have broke the record without Sid being there, because he was saving me from getting up and weighing the fish. He weighed them for me. You know, there was a few moans about it, but you know, anyone else would have done the same if they could have someone weigh their fish. Anyone would have done the same. Oops, missed that one. There's a few bites to be had on the Waggler now. So you just never know what you're going to catch next. And in amongst them, you catch little roach all the time. So it's nice. It's nice fishing. And me, I prefer the Waggler to anything. I do. Just a lovely way of fishing. Beg your pardon?
Definitely an art to the Waggler.
There seems to be, Ben. I mean, I find it quite simple, but I know a lot of people I've took out and showed them how to do it. It took them a good few hours to get used to casting and feeding, but once they've done it, now they're set for life. And a lot of me mates who come here now and just fish the Waggler, they're quite good on it. They're good. They're real good anglers on the Waggler, because they put the time and effort into doing it. They show me a lesson, I think, the way I keep missing these bites. Dickie Carr's a master over here when he was coming over here. Dickie Carr was the master on the Waggler. Yeah, he was the master. Man to beat, because he is absolutely brilliant on a pellet Waggler. Yeah, he'd be the man to beat. He'd be the one I want to beat every week. And I know if I beat him, I've won the match normally. But last year, a lot of the matches, they made it silvers only, because of this rule of weighing in the fish over £8. On the big lake, most of the fish are over £8. I'll hit that one, small fish. Most of the fish are over £8 on the big lake, so they made it silvers only. So as such, I had to fish the pole all the time. Still, I done all right. I had some nice weights of bream on meat up in the water. What we got here then? I think this is a skimmer, or it could be a roach. Let's have a look. Oh, it is a little skimmer. As you see, with the bit of filming that we've done here, you ain't been filming me that long, but I've had quite a few fish. You know, it's quite a prolific place. As I say, the majority of the fish have been that sort of size, but another day they could be 2-pounders. You just don't know. You just don't know here. I'll use census Wagglers, Ben. That's the smallest one.
Right.
That's a 4-grammer.
Right.
And they've got a hollow tip in them,
Yeah.
which shows up really well in the sun. Can you see?
Yeah.
Some are paint black because sometimes it's some white water out there. Sometimes I leave them red, depending on the background, how you can see them.
Yeah.
And they've got a loaded shot, and the shotting takes it to about there.
Right.
So it allows you, with the adapter that I fit on it, I fit a Milo adapter. I'll show you in a minute.
Yeah.
I fit a Milo adapter to lock it on, and then a few shots down the line. But if I need more shots, you unscrew that and take one of the rings off, and it allows you a few more shots.
Down the line, yeah.
I'll reel in now and I'll show you how I set it, how I put it on. I mean, today it's not that deep here, it's only about 5 foot, so I ain't got a lot of shot down the line. I've only got couple of 10s. Oops. But the float, I don't like putting on loaded floats. I don't like putting shots on my line. So what I do, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's a Milo adapter, but loads of different firms make them. Preston make them, and they're like a bit of carbon going through. See the carbon,
Yeah.
and there's the rubber, and they go through, and you lock them on,
Yeah.
and they slide up and down the line. But to lock them, you undo one of the rubbers and you turn it round, twist it, and you've turning your line around the barrel that's making up the swivel.
Yeah.
and that locks it. Now that won't move. So once you've got your depth that's locked,
Yeah.
that'll never move.
Yeah.
And it's just a lovely way of fishing. If and I want a bit more shot down the line, I take, as I say, I take one of the rings off, but I've only got 2 number 10s down the line, because sometimes you catch fish on the drop here and it shows. I mean, as soon as the float hits, it's settled, and the 2 number 10s show where it settles, and it's down to the tip when it's out there, and it's quite a sensitive setup. And there's a 18 hook with double maggot, and that's how I've been catching the fish out there. I've caught quite a number of fish out there. Well, I've hooked another decent fish here, Ben. Hooked another decent fish on the Wagler. It's probably a carp, but it's hanging. Can't do too much with it. I'm only on soft gear, so I've got an Acolyte Ultra rod. It's got no power in it for big fish, but it's nice and soft for these skimmers. But it's just hanging. It's definitely a carp. I said to you earlier, the more bait you put in, the more chance you've got of catching carp, particularly on this lake. There's just so many in here. I've got a 14, Ben, .14 with an 18 hook. And literally, I mean, I don't normally use it that heavy, but I knew I've got a chance of catching carp here. So I want to be able to get them in. I've had them in here on 010 and 08 even. Oh, it's come off. Yeah, never mind. Oh yeah, I've had them on lighter lines here, Ben. They come out because it's winter. They're not going so mad. But yeah, that's how it goes. You win some, you lose some. It could have well been foul hooked. I think it's another carp, Ben. Yeah. If it's not a carp, it's a big bream. Looks like a carp to me, mate. I'm just hoping it ain't fair hooked. So I'm probably about 6 inches over depth today, and the only reason I went over depth was because of the toe. Normally I like to fish dead depth in here. They give a fair old pull, these fish. He's coming in. I've just got to keep them away from all that muck, because they know it's there. Down the edge there's a lot of dead reeds, and they just go straight in it. Well, the float's out of the water, but we ain't seen the fish yet. Don't think it's a big carp, but it's a carp. Keep out of there. I like the backwind when I get decent fish on. I don't like relying on the clutch, even though on these reels the clutches are brilliant on diver reels, but I prefer to backwind. Reason being, like you've just seen there, I can hold the rod, hold the reel tight, and it ain't going to give no line, so I can pull it away from that muck. With a clutch they can still get in there. Yeah. I very rarely use the clutch, Ben. I use the only time I use the clutch in the summer, I have it set so if I hook a fish, they sometimes up there on the big lake, they're 20 pounders, they just pull off, and you can break even with decent gear on. You can still break. So I use the clutch there, and then as I start to play the fish, I tighten it up and go back to backwind. But as you see, you can't do much with these fish on soft rods and what have you. But it's winter, so it doesn't matter. Every fish counts. I don't think it's a very big carp. Just they are lively in here. Yeah, we've seen him. It's not that big. But same again, he's another mirror, probably about £3.5. You know, decent fish, aren't they, on a day like today?
Nice fish, John. Nice fish.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few carp we've had now, Ben.
Yeah. And obviously those fish obviously you caught skimmers on the pole early, didn't you?
Yeah.
They went off.
Yeah.
Then you've gone out on the Wagler and had a few fish.
I'll be honest with you, Ben. I saw carp rolling. Dickie Carr come over and I said, I'm going to try for a carp. He said, you won't catch none. Dickie, typical. Well, I got one first cast on pellet. Then I caught an F1 on pellet. But as I said to you earlier, out of laziness, my van's right over there. And I should really go and get some pellets because they prefer pellets to maggots. But the ones I've got, they're all right for feeding, but now they won't stay on the hook, they're mushy. So I've changed the swim to maggot. I've been piling maggots in. These fish just are hungry, they'll eat anything. But it's not as with a pellet, you've got more chance of just catching a bream or a carp. On maggot, you've got a chance of catching all types of fish, which I have been catching: little roach, little skimmers. I've had some proper skimmers on it, and a few carp. So it's not as well, I can't even think of the word. It's a universal bait which catches everything. Where pellets just targets the better fish, which I prefer. But because me pellets are rubbish, I'm sticking on the maggot. It ain't doing any harm. I'm catching, and every cast I put a fair pouch. I mean, it's a fair pouch of maggots there. I put a fair pouch of maggots round. It's ruining the silverfish, but I don't care because I'm catching better ones. You know, they do love a bit of food here, and it's a nice way of fishing. No one else around the lake's catching carp, you know, because there's a lot of skimmers in here. But I just fancied I'd catch on the Wagler, and I'll probably stay on it now. I'll probably stay on the Wagler now because now I've got fish there. I mean, I've had a few carp now. Because I'm catching them, I'll probably stay on it. I know if it was a match, I definitely wouldn't come off it, and I'd have a little bomb rod to chuck over the top as well, with either a little method on it or straight lead. Here, another one, look. So I'm saying the fish are there now. Another carp by the feel of it. But see how they come to that bait?
Brilliant, John.
You keep putting the bait in, they come to it. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't feed enough. They're worried about ruining their pegs. But on lakes like this where there's carp, you don't ruin it. All you do is bring the carp in. The lake's known for carp up to about £15 in here, but during the winter you don't seem to see them ones. You see the fish between £2 and £6. But it's still nice fishing, isn't it? I mean, look at that rod bending in half. It's proper sport, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's brilliant.
It's proper sport. I think I need a bigger boat. That's a little bit bigger than the last one, I think. Yeah, a little bit bigger. It's about £5 by the looks of this in the water. Can't pull too hard because I don't want to break the line or pull the hook out. But it's frustrating when they just lay it under the surface. There he is. Always a nice. Oh, I nearly had him. It's a nice common, about £5 or £6. Should have netted him there. He's got second wind now. Oops, I ain't having all that rubbish going in there. Come out here. I should have been a woman, Ben. See me in the nude with my boobs, you'd think I was a woman. They're moobs. If you hear me moaning in the summer that I'm on a bad peg, you know I sound like a woman. Up she comes. Come on, fishy. This is quite a nice fish, this, actually. Yeah, he don't want to come up, he don't. I had him ready for the net. Because I missed him, he's got second wind. Here he comes, here he comes. He's mine. Oh, bigger than I thought and all, Ben. It's near a 7 or 8 pound. Oh, it's bigger than that. It's quite a lovely fish. It's a lovely fish. Look at that.
Right, so obviously you were saying that you've got a pretty nifty way about plumbing up, John, yeah? Shall I say you plumb it up?
I'll show you how to do it, Ben.
Okay, mate.
I've got a fish on here for a minute. Let me just bring this in.
Fish on?
Fish on. I'll show you how I plumb up, Ben, as soon as I bring this in. Little skimmer. Yeah, the way I plumb up, Ben, was shown to me, oh, I don't know how many years ago, donkeys years ago. Keith Arthur. I've known Keith Arthur since I was a kid. And, right, I mean, at the moment, I'm at dead depth, Ben, but imagine I've just turned up and I'm plumbing up. My rig's set up to what I think the depth is. I'll get an AA shot. All my lines all set up. The rig's set up perfect. I'll get an AA shot, and down by the hook, I'll put the shot. I'll squeeze on an AA. Right, that's squeezed on. Then you get the float. Now you can see that there, that shot there. Right, just above the hook. I'll get the. Let's put that back there. I'll get the float. And just above the float, I don't know if you could pick it up on the camera, but I'll make a loop. And I'll put the loop over the float, pull it tight, and now that is fixed that like a double rubber, like it's top and bottom.
It's now top and bottom.
It's fixed it, it's fixed. And when you cast out, you hold the line and it drops in and you get a true reading. It's like fishing, plumbing up on a pole. If you had it bottom only, the angle don't show the true depth. But with this, you're dropping it and lifting it, and you're dropping it and you get the true depth. And what you do, I mean, I know this is true depth because I've been fishing with it, but I'll just show you. You cast it out overhead, hold the line up. Now that's going in, I've got no line going down. The float's out there, you can see the float. Yeah, and that shot is now just touching bottom. You can just about see it, look, got it? The float is just touching bottom. That's dead depth. If I want to go a little bit deeper, then I'll pull the float up, but I'm catching at dead depth, so I'll stay at dead depth. But sometimes the float will be sticking right out and you know it's over depth. So what I'll do then, to get a truer reading, I'll bring the shot up away from the hook, say 6-8 inches, chuck it out, and if I get a true reading again where the float there now, because it's got all that's higher, it will show easier on the float. The float now will show where it's cocking, and rather than being out like that, it shows it's cocked. And you feel you're on the bottom, you know how far over depth you are, and then you can vary the line accordingly.
That's a good method of doing it.
It's an easy way, Ben, as I say, and I've got Keith to thank me for that, to thank myself for, yeah, because he showed me that many years ago, and it has stood me in good stead anywhere I've been fishing a Wagler. It's really held me in good stead. Well, Ben, I came here originally to fish the pole and catching skimmers, which we succeeded in doing, but the fish have gone a bit scatty. I've caught fish by putting crumb in, and every time I put crumb in, it takes the fish back down, you have a run of fish. But after a while, I was getting silly scatty bites and foul hooking fish, and you had to let the float settle, and you just, the float was going all over the place, and you start foul hooking fish. Leave them alone for a little while, let the bait settle. After a while, you go out and you get proper bites. But that was happening all the time, and it was taking ages sometimes for them to settle. And I'm foul hooking fish and I'm losing fish, and I see a carp swell outside, so I picked the Waggler up, started feeding for them. I caught one straight away. Then I had an F1. Then I've had 5 or 6 carp, and then you filmed me, and I've caught a few after that. So I've had quite 8 to 10 carp. But I didn't come here to do that, but that's made the day for me. It's a bonus for me, because I like fishing this way, but also caught some skimmers doing it. So, you know, it's a bonus. But I wanted to come and fish the pole. You've learnt a bit, have you?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's good, Ben.
Obviously, you know, fishing the pole, feeding the Waggler, chopping and changing between the 2 lines.
But as you can see, Ben, to win matches here, you've got to be a bit adaptable. Yeah. And you've got to be able to fish Waggler, you've got to be able to fish the feeder and the bomb. Yeah. As I say, today, I fancy with a soft feeder rod or soft bomb rod, I could have fished a straight lead over the top and caught some of these carp still as well, when this wind gets too bad for the Waggler and it's towing. But yeah, you've got to be a bit adaptable to catch fish here all the time. But it's been quite a good day, hasn't it? It has, John. It has been quite a good day.
Well, thanks ever so much for
no problem, mate. Anytime.
Showing us. And,
anytime.
We'll see you on the next one.
I'll tell you what, we'll have to have a day out on the pellet Waggler when it warms up a bit, Ben.
We will, John.
Because I mean, the pellet Waggler fishing here is second to none.
Brilliant. All right, John.
All right, mate. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Cheers, John. Well, thanks for joining us. Obviously, nice insight there with John, England captain. He is a very versatile angler. Obviously, fishing the pole, fishing the Waggler with expanders to start with, catching skimmers. Then, obviously, feeding maggots over the top and catching. Well, he had 8 carp, biggest about £10. But yeah, great insight. Obviously, showed us there a few little tips and tricks. But yeah, fantastic angler, really great angler, and a great all-rounder. So yeah, thanks again, John. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Obviously, you'll be able to see all new content I'll be uploading. I'm going to try and upload as regularly as I possibly can. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and thanks again to John Weeden for some great tips and advice. See you again soon. Tight lines. Cheers.